some of the
this
images
is what it looks
right
like
there.
in your town, but on the border, the shelves look different.
So American families, there's a shortage, but if you're a migrant, don't worry because Uncle Sam has a stash of that.
So that is Fox and Friends, one of the most watched shows in American political media. And they have seen on Twitter a photo of stores of baby formula at the border intended for undocumented immigrants to use. You can see the photo right there. So Kat McCamick, I should say, took photos. And this is what American politics is now. You take a photo of a shelf with no context. Maybe it's from 10 years ago, maybe it's from Japan, I don't know. And then that is it. That is our, our news cycle. That is our discourse. So undocumented immigrants are getting formula. Good American white people aren't getting formula. And so Fox and Friends talked about it. And then Tucker talked about it, and Hannity talked about it, and Jesse Waters talked about it, and Laura Ingraham talked about it all in one day. And entire news networks, basically their entire news cycle was dominated by a photo that appeared to show that bad brown people are getting access to formula and your good white baby can't get it. It resulted not only in round the clock coverage on Fox News, but Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, put out a statement saying that Biden has turned a blind eye to parents because that shelf in the Twitter photo had formula on it. He's saying they're out of touch, it's reckless. Our children deserve a president who puts their needs and survival first, not one who gives critical supplies to illegal immigrants before the very people he took the oath to serve. And considering what's been going on with the leak of the SCOTUS and the impending destruction of Roe v. Wade, immediately transitioning to I am not comfortable until these immigrant babies start dying from starvation. That's a hell of a turn, Brett.
Listen, it's all free, everyone the freedom of speech is exactly this speech. They're allowed to say whatever they want and they're allowed to construct their own arguments. I think this argument from Abbott is a winner for him, for his people, politically.
Yes.
It's a winner. And there's no winners on the left, and it's driving me insane. It's okay, you know what? They're not doing anything. They're not messaging effectively. They're not turning this around. Even the public citizen, like, oh, starve these babies, all these counterattacks are like implicit in their argument is still that we need to care about non-American babies than we need to care about American babies. They're like, oh, they want to starve babies. Let me get you on the hypocrisy of being pro-life and then starving babies. Instead of saying, listen, every time, and Marjorie Taylor Greene interrupted a discussion about Ukraine to make a statement about how we're not giving formula to American babies. I tweeted at Raskin, even though he still got her in a, listen, we're gonna spend money on foreign wars argument. And what he needs to turn around and do, and what they need to turn around and do is like, great, I'm glad you're here to the government can help party. Because that's what we try to do. And every time we try to fix something like this, every time we try to get health care for people in America, you vote against it. You do it. We did it yesterday. Every time we try to give freedom for Americans, every time we try to give body autonomy to women, you vote against it. But your focus is on what? Looking at kids' penises before they go swimming to make sure that they're in the right race in the NCAA. Can I see your genitals? The pro-freedom party does that. They vote against freedom and they vote against helping Americans. Where's that fire? Where's that message?
I like that. That's good. That's good, Brett. Let's make that an ad. Actually, I do like that. Yeah, look, in some ways, pure advocacy for values is a little bit more difficult because they can put out a message where they know a significant portion of their base doesn't care if these people live or die, and kind of like the idea that they would go without, and they can play to that. It's much easier, I think, to play to that than to encourage people to believe that we all deserve consideration, empathy, compassion, and dignity. That is harder. I do like the way that you turn that, though. I think we should run with that.
Like it's a brain dead. This public graphic 11. Sorry to do it, but graphic 11. This is a brain dead, bad politics, preaching to the choir tweet.
I mean, maybe there's some good Christians that won't like that think
there's still
maybe
starving babies at the end of this discussion. You're just choosing which babies to starve.
No, it's not but that's playing into a ridiculous false dichotomy.
Right, but you haven't gotten out of the false dichotomy.
Has one pallet of formula, and it's like, do I give it to the migrants or do I give it to people in Dallas, Fort Worth? That's not actually how it works. And by the way, Marjorie Greene seems to think it is very important that formula is available. It is not important that people actually have the money to purchase it if it was on the shelves. She's perfectly happy for people to have to make very difficult decisions that leave millions of American kids, babies, on the brink of starvation every day. Not in this one crisis with this one supply chain issue, but there's food insecurity and people going to bed hungry. That is a constant across America. She doesn't want to do anything to give them the funds necessary to make sure that their kids or babies are fed. She is just using this as an opportunity. She doesn't care about the actual problem, which is broader than one issue with formula.
The difference, I agree with a lot of that. And the only difference is where you end up at the end of it. That's my point. At the end of it, you're still like public citizen, and all these takes are still in that photo is what it's all about. In my take, we end up with, here's what your entire party is all about. Complaining and offering no solutions. And when we offer solutions, you vote against it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Same thing with the gas prices. We're not going to relitigate the entire thing, but she and Lauren Boebert would constantly say we need to get the prices down, and literally everything, solution after solution after solution, they were against.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.